welcome to my channel. My name is Sally and this is Sally Stitches And, which is my channel about my cross stitch hobby and then any other hobby that's striking my fancy at the same time. So if you haven't guessed it, my name is Sally. I am a mother of two. I live in Michigan and I'm going to do a very Michigan thing by pretending my hand is the lower peninsula of Michigan and saying I live right here. So I have had a lovely summer and I'm very excited to say that back to school season is upon us. The kids go back to school on Tuesday. So I am very much looking forward to all of the exciting things that are going to happen as they start their new grades. My son is going to a new school this year. He's going to middle school. I can't believe it. And it's just been a little hectic around here while we get ready. And so this video is going to be just a little bit different than normal. For one, I am going to get interrupted a lot. My kids are both home. It is raining outside and I just know that I'm going to have to stop. I'm not going to have time to do a whole long conversation, but I didn't want to wait until next week because it's been about 3 weeks since my last upload and I didn't want to lose momentum, both like for algorithm reasons. I don't know how that works, but I'm assuming you should post regularly, right? If you want to keep building an audience. But also because I have found that since I started my Flosstube channel, that having regular updates really helps me measure progress toward goals. And that is something that I really enjoy with all of my hobbies. I really enjoy measuring the progress. And so I'm sure that some of you can understand that. So today I am going to update you on 3 of my hobbies. I have a knitting update, I have a quilting update, and then of course the cross stitch update. I've probably done more cross stitch than anything else, and I finished more things, and I'm very close to finishing a lot of other things too. So I also have an exciting giveaway. I'm going to probably put that kind of toward the end of my cross stitch segment because it is a cross stitch related giveaway. I won a little contest a couple weeks ago and I thought I would share my winnings. And so I'll tell you all about that very shortly. And then the last thing I wanted to do was I wanted to show you a kit parade. So what is a kit parade? So this is cross stitch, by the way. So cross stitch kits. So when I have a project that I want to start, but I have not yet started stitching, sometimes I'll set the pattern and the floss and the fabric all together and I'll put them in a bag and I'll call that a kit. I have quite a few kits stacked up. In fact, I had a single drawer on my organization system that I had just for kits and it overflowed, and so I made room and I made a second drawer. And so I thought I would go through those and just kind of show you what I've got because I think it's fun and maybe there's something that you guys have and we could start a stitch along or something. Some mutual motivation. That's what I'm looking for. So let's start right now. With a little bit of a knitting update because I brought all my knitting stuff and I've got it right here. And then what I'm going to have to do today, just because the kids are home and my son in particular has some special needs that are going to take me away from filming, is I will be making a lot of short little films and then I'll be editing them together. And so I apologize that this is not going to be a continuous flow. But back to knitting. So I finished a project. And I'm very excited because I've been working on these for a couple weeks. And here they are. So these are the Cliff Walk socks. The pattern is by Helen Stewart, who goes by Curious Handmade on Ravelry. I made these using size 1 needles, which are 2.25 millimeter. I made the largest size, which is like about 72 stitches around. And they fit really nicely. I'm going to try to insert a little picture of my cozy toesies right here. Yeah, isn't that cute? So I really enjoyed making these. I started these actually right before I went to StitchCon. So I know I started them in early June and I've just been plugging away at them. And it was really satisfying just to get a couple rounds in every day or every couple days. And it was a really good start and stop project. And now I've got a new pair of socks just in time for sock season. So I'm really happy about that. The other project I've been working on that I've showed you before is my heirloom quilt cardigan blocks. So this is a cardigan that I'll show a picture of, and the design works, you knit a bunch of different individual blocks, kind of like a quilt, and then you sew them together to make the body of the cardigan. And I need for my size, I think I need about 27 blocks. And so the first 20 blocks I've made, and those were just using kind of a very straightforward color pattern. But these last 7 blocks were colors that I had to kind of make up on my own using combinations that I maybe hadn't used before. And I've really been having a lot of fun. I'll show you the most recent amount of blocks I've made. So these are right now currently blocking on my blocking mat. So blocking is straightening the stitches out so that they're of uniform size and they're flat. I do this by soaking these in water, and then while they are still wet, pinning them to this yoga mat, puzzle mat thing to dry. That's what these pin things are. They're called knit blockers. So that way when I'm sewing them together, they will fit without there being a lot of like, you know, wibble wobble seams. And so these were colors that I all had to come up with on my own, using the colors that I was choosing. I am knitting these with both skinny singles and sock singles by Hedgehog Fibers. It was a set that I had a while ago, purchased, and then I've added a couple other Hedgehog Fibers socks just to make enough yardage to make the whole cardigan. And so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5, 6, 7 left. So I'm working on a 5th block, and then I'll need to make 2 more, and then I will have all of my blocks ready to go. And that is very exciting because once they are together, I can start working on the seams. I can start working on, you know, adding a collar and the sleeves, and then by fall, maybe I'll have a cardigan. So I'm really excited about that. So to take the place of the socks that I just finished, I decided to start a new project. But what I did was I went through my knitting projects and my crochet projects that I had already started, and I chose a work in progress to continue. And I have it right here. First off, I have it in this really cute bag that my sister made several years ago for me. The fabric, I believe, is like old cotton and steel. They're Ruby Star Society now, but it's a bunch of swallows, and some of them have little crowns. I just think it's really cute, and I like the graphic a lot. And inside it, I have my crochet hook, and then I have some yarn. And this is Lion Brand 24/7 cotton. And I'm using this yarn to crochet little squares like this. And the pattern for these squares is called Wild Rose, and it's designed by someone named Stephanie Lau, who goes by All About Ami on both Ravelry and on Instagram. And this pattern is actually designed so that you can make a market bag. And I've actually made one before, so I'll show you what they look like when they are sewed together. So isn't this pretty? I really like making market bags out of cotton yarn because cotton does not have a lot of stretch compared to wool like my socks. And so they are really nice sturdy bags. So you can see all the little squares. They're all sewn together, and then you crochet a very sturdy handle on the top. And then you've got a really cool bag that you can take like to the farmer's market or to the beach or whatever. So that's actually one of 2 bags I've already made. Here's another one I made in like an orchid pink. And so my new bag will be kind of like a minty, I don't know, sage green, whatever color this is. It's a cool green, and it's actually a lot like this turquoise green, maybe a little darker. So I think this would be a really fun thing to finish and get out of my pile. You cannot see it because it's out of camera, but I have a pile of knitting projects that lives like right here. And I think that I need to make that pile smaller before I start a new project, you know, so there we go. I am going to go gather some cross stitch things, and then let's start talking about cross stitch next. Okay, I have gathered all of my things, and I've got my little pile right here. So let's talk about cross stitch. Have you guys been stitching? I have really loved stitching. I stitch a lot right here where I catch up with my Flosstube. I'll put my iPad right there so I can watch other people's Flosstubes. I have been stitching and watching TV. I've been watching some anime with my daughter after my son goes to bed. And that's fun. That's more for her. I've actually seen the series already, but she's rewatching it, and it's been a nice time. And then also I've taken it outside, and I've worked at my little like craft table, you know, which I use to supervise my son when he plays outside if I don't want to go outside. And so cross stitch is the ultimate to-go craft, even if you're just in your house. So here are the projects I've been working on. First off, I want to update you on my 324 sal. This is a pattern by Works by ABC, and here I am. I started in the corner, oops, and I'm working my way to the other corner. And I am excited because I am moving away from the reds and starting to get into the pinky purples. And it's been a lot of fun. I am actually 2 behind. I did not work on this yesterday and I have not done today's. So today I will add 2 more blocks here. But I put this project into the app Markup RXP that I just started using about 2 weeks ago, and I am enjoying it. For a fun stat, I am just about 1/7 done with this project. I'm at like 14.44%, which, you know, is really fun for me. And so it's really nice to be able to use that program. In fact, all of the projects that I'm currently working on, with the exception of the Arctic Animals Stitch Along by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, I have put in Markup RXP. It's actually kind of fun to upload them, especially if you have to scan your own project because then it's like a little game getting all the grids to line up, and I'm enjoying it. So yep, more data for me. As speaking of the Arctic Animals Stitch Along, the new clue just came out and it's really cute, but I have not stitched on it. So I'm not going to show that to you today because I did not bring it over here. However, I did work on a different Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery pattern, and I am in the process of fully finishing it. I finished the stitching and right now I'm FFOing it. And the project I finished is Season's Greetings from the Fox Family, which is something that, if you followed along, it was one of my Whip Miss in July projects. And I was so close to finishing it, and Markup really motivated me by telling me how close I was to finishing it, that I went ahead and I finished the stitching, and I've started to fully finish them. So here are 2 of them. This pattern was done in 3 different colorways, and this is the cozy colorway. So you can see there's like some browns and the red, and then this is the vintage colorway, which I think is my favorite one because it's got that turquoise I like. And then the last colorway is called the winter colorway. Now, I purchased this as part of the Jingle Ball last year, and part of that class included a finishing kit. And so the finishing kit included some pre-cut mat boards, and I have just added a little square of batting on these mat boards. I've just used glue. I glued a little X and stuck it right on there. So I've got those. And then the other thing was a like 1/8 of a yard of fabric that was designed specifically for this project by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And it's kind of fun. All of these motifs really coordinate with any of the colorways. And so I am in the process of fully finishing them, and I don't even have the first one finished, but let me show you what I've got so far. So this is the winter colorway, and there's the back. I've got a loose thread here because I haven't cut it off. So what I did was I used 2 of these mat boards, 1, 2, and I wrapped the cross stitch piece on one of them, and then I wrapped the fabric piece on the other one. And then the kit also included some trim. This is Snow by Lady Dot Creates. And what I'm doing is I'm using a needle to attach the trim and also attach the 2 boards together. I saw this in a picture tutorial, or I guess she calls them picture walks. But if you go to the Hands-On Design blog, she has a lot of different finishing tutorials. And she had this idea of like sewing 2 little pieces together that I really like, because what I can do as I sew them is I just tuck the pom-pom trim in between, and then I'm using my needle to just sew through the front layer, the back layer, and the trim in between using whip stitches, and it's adding it all at the same time. So this edge is completely done. So pretend that the whole thing is done. It is a lot of sewing. This has actually been a very pleasant, like, sit at the art table or sit outside project. I just have all my trim kind of hanging off of it, and I will cut it when I get around the whole perimeter of the piece, and then I will repeat it twice more, and then I'm going to have 3 little carts. Now, I thought about adding a hanging loop on the back of this project, and I opted not to because these are lightweight and small enough that I might just use 3M Command picture hanging Velcro and just stick them directly onto the wall, because these are things that I will display just for the short term, you know, for Christmas time, and then I'm going to be putting them away. And I've found that Command Stickum stuff is really, really gentle on fabrics and easy to remove, and it sticks to my brick, which is really nice. So this is my almost fully finished project, and I'll show you what they look like when I complete them next time. I guess I almost called this video all the small things because everything I've worked on this week has been very small. The next project I have is a project that I started really recently, and it is called Bobbin. It is by Stacy Nash Designs. And here we have it. So Bobbin includes two patterns. There's the pattern that is Bobbin the mouse holding the needle. And then there is a separate pattern that is a basket of these same berries and that you can make into a pin keep. The Bobbin pattern is designed that you take a little, stuffing of some sort and another piece of fabric, and you stuff it so it's a three-dimensional, like, stuffy character. And then what you can do is you can add it on top of a spool. And this is a spool that my friend Jen gave me at StitchCon, and I am going to use it for Bobbin. So imagine that Bobbin is three-dimensional sitting on the spool. Isn't that gonna be cute? And then the pin keep will be a separate piece. This is the weirdest little scrap of fabric ever, and that is because this is a piece that I cut off of another small item that I just really recently finished. This is a 36 count fiber on a whim, cream and sugar, and the flosses I'm using for these are Weeks Dye Works. I believe they're all the called fors. I didn't substitute anything in. So that is another almost done project. Boy, when you do a lot of small ones, then it is a lot easier to get it done. So speaking of smalls, I have another project that I cannot show you yet, but I am going to a retreat next month, and we're doing some pre-stitching. The design is by Stitching with the Housewives, and this retreat is the 141 Pep Rally in Williamston, Michigan. So I've got some small pieces to finish, and then we'll take them to the retreat, and then we'll fully finish them at the retreat, and then I'll show you that later. But I am working on it, and I'm getting a little bit done every day, and that is good because I'm not really good with homework stitching. I procrastinate, and then I do other stuff, and there's always something else to do, right? And so I'm glad that I'm working on that. I spun my whip wheel this month because I really wanted to pull another older project out that was a little bigger than all of these smalls to put some significant progress in, or maybe even finish. And so this is my focus project for this month, if you can call any of these projects focus projects. And this is something I started a long time ago, and I got very frustrated and I rage quit it. And now I am considering it, and I'm going to finish it. And this is... Oops, I pulled the needle minder out, but I had a hanging thread. So let me just secure the needle through the fabric. This is Greetings from the National Parks by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Now, I bet you can tell immediately why I rage quit this. And I'll tell you. So originally I had finished this motif right here. And then I went to start the next motif, and I realized I had totally misaligned the fabric. The fabric, by the way, is 28 count Spice by Picture This Plus, and I was really concerned at the time I was not going to have enough room on this edge to get my sewing in and have a big enough margin. But I just added this one. This is Arches National Park, and I think this is Grand Teton, but I am going to have to look. I did not stitch the text that tells you which park is which, but I got this whole motif in, and I see that I've got about 2.5 inches on this side, and so now I'm feeling great about this project. Like, I can totally proceed. The project, I'll try to do a picture of it, but it is basically like little postcards. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's a little border on the bottom that says I love national parks, and then like a decorative border on top. I just think the colors are really pretty, especially these arches. Look how cute those are turning out. And it's really fun once you get the eyes on the creatures, the critters, and the people, because then everything just really starts to pop. It's really been a fun stitch. I put this in markup. I am about 25% done, so that's exciting. If I could get to 50% done by the end of the month, I'd be really happy, especially considering I've done a lot of other stuff. The reason I thought about doing this project is because last month I had finished the other national parks project that was designed by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. That's called National Park's birthday, I believe. And I just thought it turned out so cute that I wanted to make the companion right away. So here is that, just as a quick show. So I made this with a Chantel's 141 finishing board. I picked the blue that's kind of the same blue as the pattern to paint the board. And then I bought these little felt pom-poms from Benzie Design, which is a very addictive place to go buy felt. And this was really fun. I will try to insert a little shot right here of how I'm using this piece to decorate my table. And I wanted to share a little update because someone on YouTube told me about this. But originally I was using this book that belongs to my son, 50 Adventures in the 50 States, to kind of go like play off of this piece. And then someone told me that this publisher, which is Wide-Eyed, makes a national parks book. And so I bought this for my son, but also for me. Look, National Parks of the USA. Isn't it cool? So they're really cute together on the table, and this is a cute book. Like if you just want a nice book to read to children, like for a story time thing at nighttime. So I think that it's going to be fun to finish these, and I'm glad that I kind of relit the spark on that project. And it's one more whip off of my whip board that I can remove. I should briefly talk about what my whip wheel is. I use an app called Tiny Decisions, and I've put all of my works in progress from the beginning of the year onto this wheel. And then anytime I have what I call project paralysis, which is wanting to start something or work on something, but not really knowing what I'm in the mood for, I'll spin the wheel and I'll select something. It's really fun to kind of like give up your agency to the whims of a wheel. And I've gotten a lot of things done that I maybe never would have even touched had I not, put them on this wheel. And so I'm glad that I've chosen to do that. So, but I do want to start something new this month. And so as a reward for finishing all of the smalls, my upcoming plan is to start Coffee and Eggs by the Artsy Housewife. I bought this at StitchCon. I was really excited. This lady I have found from the Artsy Housewife's Instagram. Her name is Cheryl, but her name in my house is Sally because look, she's got a cute skirt and a cute cardigan, like what I like to wear. And she loves and respects eggs just like I do. I also wake up in the morning and I think to myself, eggs! And that's basically what she's doing. Plus she's got a little rainbow and I like little rainbows. So I am going to stitch this using the called for colors. Most of them are classic color works. I actually just purchased a ring so that I have them all together. There are a couple DMCs that I have to pull out of my DMC bin, but I also decided I was going to use this new fabric that I got at StitchCon. This is Moonstone in a 36 count by Fiber on a Whim, and I just think it's going to look spectacular. So I've worked so hard on whips the last like 2 or 3 months that I'm very excited to start something new. Although I guess bobbin was new. And, I guess I have started some new things, but I've really wanted to start this. And so I'm glad that I'm putting this on my schedule to start. But I didn't even tell you what I finished. Oh, I was going to start with that, but that's okay. I have it right here. I'm actually sitting on it slightly, so excuse me. I finished 2 things this week, and I am really happy with how both things worked out. The first one is the stitch along that I did with my friend, the Redheaded Stitcher, here on YouTube. And this was something that we chose to stitch together for celebrating the Olympics. And so I stitched this all during those 16 days of the Olympics in Paris. This is called French Tier. It's by Erin Elizabeth Designs. And I stitched this on 40 count fabric by Color and Cotton. This was just like a little grab bag scrap I have, but it's like a really pretty blue. And you look at how tiny that is. I need like a quarter or something for scale. Let's pretend my ring. Oh, hi Nathan. Excuse me, I'll be right back. Hey, that interruption allowed me to go dig through my purse for a quarter. So now we have an appropriate measurement of scale, if I can get everything to fit together. This is a new quarter too. Look at how tiny and cute this is. So the finished dimensions are about 3 inches wide by about 4 1/4 inches tall. Look at those teeny tiny stitches. I just am in love with this. So I decided I wanted to finish this in kind of an oval shape. And so I started with a rectangle and then I rounded the edges as symmetrically as I could by hand. Hi Audrey. I'm gonna just encourage her to not walk on this table. And also to not destroy my cross stitch, please. So I finished that, and I did this finish exactly how I am doing the Season's Greetings from the Fox Family finish, where I made 2 oval boards, and this one I covered with a cross stitch piece. The back side I covered with a piece of felt from Benzie Design, and then I sewed them together, and then I added this really cool half pearl trim that I like, that it's flat so that it goes on the edges nicely. But we've got the pretty pearls because I just thought they would look so nice with the, you know, lacy tray embellishments. And I am really happy with how this turned out. I did use a little grosgrain ribbon to make a hanging thing here, and I'm just really happy. So my daughter takes French in high school, and I think that we're gonna put this in her bedroom maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't been in her bedroom in many years because it's a teenage bedroom and I don't go in there anymore. So, hey Audrey. So my cat Audrey has decided it is time now for me to give her attention. I have a bunch of my vintage glass on display at the table next to me, and maybe I can turn this so you can see it. Yeah, you can also see my big knitting mess down there. So she is just like doing that to be mean and to bully me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go refill her snack barrel, and then I'll show you the next thing I finished. I'll be right back. I knew this was gonna be tricky. Thank you so much for being patient with me. She's coming back. I might not have given her enough snacks. Okay, well, very quickly, this is the next thing I finished, and this is the thing I am most proud about. So I showed you the start of this project. This is a stitch along I did with my friend Jen, who does not have a Flosstube channel, but our friend Sarah does, and it is Memphis Sarah E here on Flosstube, and they started a stitch along using hands-on design berry basket patterns. There are 3 of them. There's a strawberry, there's a blackberry, and there's a blueberry, and I stitched all 3, and they turned out really cute. Are you ready? Ah, look how cute this is. Oh no. Okay. So I have the strawberry here. Here's the back, and put little X's on it. And then I've got the blackberry, and then the blueberry. And then this bowl is a Pyrex gooseberry bowl, and I have filled it with lots of other berries. So I went a little crazy on Benzie Design's website. First off, I used a sheet of felt to make these. They're called seat balls, but they're the little caps on the berries. But I didn't want to just buy a single sheet of green felt. And so I ended up buying a bunch more felt shapes because I love them so much. I got some blueberries, which are just standard pom-poms. And I got strawberries. I've got a couple of them in here. Looks like they're kind of buried in the blueberries. And then I've got these purple. These are like sugar plums, but they didn't make blackberries, and I wanted something purple. But I've got a very full berry bowl that I have my berry basket stuff in. And I have this on my table, and I just think it is really cute. I just added the little ribbons this weekend, and these were a super, super easy thing to make too. I mentioned before, Hands-On Design has some really nice tutorials. She calls the tutorial for this a picture walk because she takes photos of each step. This is something that's very easy to do. I did sew them together with my sewing machine for the sides, and then I did the rest just hand sewing. You probably could do a lot of this with glue if you're not a big hand sewer, but most of you guys are cross stitchers, right? And so you should be able to handle this. So I am really, really, really happy with how it turned out. I am not happy that my cat has decided to go up on my bookshelf, and she is now menacing my books. And so why don't I go ahead and stop it from here, and I'm gonna go take care of her, and then I wanna show you how I'm using these new cross stitches in my decorations on my dining room table next. As you can see, my table is still very jam-packed with a mix of cross stitch pieces I've made, crochet things I've done, cute little vintage finds, and it's really fun to put things I've recently finished here. So I've got my national parks with my national parks book on this side, and then I'm gonna gently walk you around. I am just literally holding my tripod, whoops, got it caught on the table leg there, and carrying it because I'm very lazy. And so I put French tier just kind of hanging there for now, just until I get a chance to give it to my daughter. And then there's my berry stuff. I've got my strawberry mouse, and then my berry bowl, and then another piece that's strawberry themed. And my big summer folk piece that I finished earlier this summer is there too. So I really, really think this is one of my very favorite seasonal displays I've ever done. I mean, they're all fun because a lot of them are filled with things that I've made, or, you know, things that I thought were cute at Target. But this one I think is gonna live down as one of my favorites. So who's ready for a giveaway? Before I start, I should really give you the context of this. So I am a big fan of a pattern design company called the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. They were the people that got me back into cross stitching after a long hiatus, you know, when I was back in knitting land exclusively for a while. And they have a lovely Facebook group called the Frosted Pumpkin Stitch Along group that is really fun to participate in. This summer they did a thing in July called Summerween, and they encouraged group members and people on Instagram who were following along to work on any of the many summer, like Halloween themed projects that they offer for sale. They even had discounts on all of their Halloween patterns, and it was really fun to like just double check which ones I didn't have. I had most of them. So I chose, you know, to work on the Halloween wreath. And I made it into a pillow. Here's a photo of it right here. And then people that had finished one of their Halloween pieces were able to enter them into like a group thread on a Facebook group. And then they selected several winners and they awarded prizes like gift cards to their shop. And I was one of the winners, and I'm really happy. You know, I really enjoyed making the pillow. And so it's like I'd already felt like I'd won, because the pillow was a project I'd had for over a year, and it's always really satisfying to get, you know, those projects off of your desk and, you know, out into, you know, your space where you can decorate with them. But I thought that it would be really fun to share my prize with someone and to purchase something specifically to give away. This is a pattern I've actually already stitched. If I had had the foresight, I would have brought it up from my autumn decorating stash, you know, so that you could see mine. But we'll go ahead and I'll just show you what I picked out. I used part of my prize to purchase this. This is not affiliated or sponsored by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery or Google or YouTube or Instagram or anybody. This is just something that I thought would be a nice thing to do. I've seen giveaways done at other, you know, Flosstube channels, and I wanted to do one. So this is the pattern. And I am sorry for any glare. I'm gonna angle it this way so there's less glare. So the name of this pattern is the Little Red Riding Hood Parade. Isn't it cute? So there's little parade floats. There's a grandma and a huntsman in a basket. There's Little Red in the middle with her house, and there's a fake grandma in a bed. This is stitched with a combination of Classic Colorworks flosses for some of these deep, beautiful reds, and DMCs. And the prize that I've chosen includes this pattern, and look how thick this is. And this is because when they include their patterns that are printed out like this, they include both the black and white and the colored charts. And so you are essentially getting like two copies of the same pattern, just in different colors, I guess. I also have the needle minder. This is made by Maria of A Needle Runs Through It for the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's got Grandma Pumpkin, Grandma Sugarloaf, and Jack, the little guy, and he's got bread in his basket because he's the basket to take to grandmother's house. Isn't it cute? And then I have a package here that has the fabric. This is the linen, or the 28 count cashel. It's in spice. And then all of the threads, and then a pack of the needles. And so you would be ready to go if you won this. So let me talk a little bit about giveaways. In order to win this, I would prefer that you be a resident of United States or Canada, because I'm going to give you this prize, and I'm also going to pay for postage. And I just am not able to do international postage at this time outside of Canada. Please be 18 years old or older, because I need to ask for your address in order to mail this. And also, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would prefer that you don't say words like giveaway or prize or contest in any comments that you make on my channel, because my understanding is that it attracts bots, and then bots enter the contest and they win. And that's not fair. I want this to go to someone who's either a cross stitcher now, or maybe someone who wants to become a cross stitcher, who's into like one of the other crafts I talk about on this channel. And I'm really hoping that that's how it works out, because maybe we can do more giveaways in the future. I think it's kind of fun to share your love of something, right? So if you are interested in winning this prize, which would include the needle minder, the floss and fabric pack, and the printed pattern, I would like you to make a comment, and I would like you to use the word parade, P-A-R-A-D-E, somewhere in your comment. I will take all of the comments that have that word in them, and I will put them in a random picker app, I guess. There are several available. I'll have to figure out which one other people use. And then I will announce the winner on my next regular update, which will be in about 2 weeks. So the deadline for entering and making the comment is going to be, I want to say, let's make it August 24th. At noon Eastern Daylight Time. That way I have a very firm cutoff for comments, and I don't have people trying to enter like next year. So August 24th, 12 noon in 2024, not in 2025. So I am really looking forward to this. And yeah, I hope people like and comment this, and like this kind of content. So great. Using the word parade is going to be very easy, because the rest of my cross stitch portion of this video is going to be a kit parade. I have all of the things that I've kitted up that I am eager to start. I'm going to start coffee and eggs this month, but I have other things that I want to start in the near future. And so I thought I'd share all of those with you next. So let's move over there and do that. Okay, so Audrey's here. She might disrupt this, but I thought what I would do is I would go through some of my kits. Now, I recently sorted out my kits, and I have 2 different categories in my kit drawers. So this is one of my kit drawers right here. It's a clear plastic drawer that slides in and out of my cabinet. Sorry, Audrey. And I have a drawer that is for kits that I consider to be small kits, and then I have a different one for kits that are larger. So let me show you our small kits, and we'll see how far we go here. So first one I have is Hands on Design, Very Merry. This is something I got from the Chantel's 141 retreat. It includes the chart and then the finishing boards to make this, and then I would provide my own floss and fabric. It's really cute. I love it. The next thing I have is actually a twofer. It's 2 different patterns. Let me bring them out. So I keep most of my kits in clear plastic storage just because I think it's easier to see what's in them rather than individual project bags. So this is a pattern by Ardith Design called Peace on Earth on the left, and then this is a pattern by Lindy Stitches called Silver Bells. And these were both things I got from the Black Needle Society in the Nice List box, I believe. I also got this Forbidden Fiber Company frozen fabric. What I thought would be really fun with these is to stitch them the same. And so I have some Forbidden Fiber sterling, and then I picked out some other colors. And so these are going to be stitched on the same fabric with the same colors, just converted to be as close as they could to each other. And then I'll have 2 kind of coordinating ornaments like that. Another little kit I have that's a Black Needle Society piece is by Summerhouse Stitch Works. This is called Superior Bees. Hey, Audrey. It's like a little steampunk beehive. I have this kitted up with fabric that came from the Black Needle Society box. This was like a steampunk themed box. And then I also have some silks, because the featured designer in that box was Ymir from Almond M&Ms. I ended up buying these from Almond M&M's website, but they're really pretty. And I think they would look really nice with this pattern. Okay, moving on. I just keep this in. This is Hands on Design. This is my Summer Folk pattern, but this is the floss and the fabric so that I can do the Winter Folk when it's released. The next one that's going to be released is Autumn Folk, but I already have that one because I received it at the retreat last year. So I'm going to have a little break and then get back into it. I had to go blow my nose. I was talking too loud or bending over too much. So this is a pattern I got from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is called Treasure Trove Trio. Isn't that cute? I have this, and then I have all the floss, and then there's a coordinating needle minder that goes with it. And then I ended up purchasing this from the Black Needle Society Vault. It's like the little finishing supplies for this pattern from Lady Dot Creates. So that'll be a fun one to make. This one I've showed you in the past. This is by Heart and Hand Needle Art. This is Frosty Tiny Town. And the reason I have this kitted up is because I had the fabric left over from Seaside Tiny Town, and it's like the perfect size to make a second drum. And so I ended up kitting this up with kind of my own floss conversion out of some color and cotton and some Weeks dye works that I had in stock. So that'll be a fun one to do when the mood strikes. So this is more of a medium-sized one. This is Beachcomber by Lindy Stitches. And I bought this in March when I went to that retreat that I went with my stitchy friends, Jen and Allison, Alley Cat 13, and Allie Z is Crafty, and Maggie with an I, and Susan the Blue Crab Stitcher, and Sarah, Stitchy Sarah Reads, and then my friends Erica and Holly. Erica is a girl called Erica Stitches. And so we went to a cross stitch shop together, and I picked out this pattern, and then I also picked out this Dye Works cotton floss to make the whale on the front. And then there's a big part in the middle that calls for a Lighthouse by Classic Colorworks. And so I went ahead and just bought like a bunch of it. I was using Lighthouse for Seaside Tiny Town, and so I just bought enough for both patterns. And so that's my kit. I'll have to get the rest of the flosses and the fabric another time when I'm ready. Here's one I bought a long time ago. This is also an Artist Design pattern. It's called Winter Cardinal Sampler. Isn't that pretty on that green fabric? I like the snowflakes on the cardinal. So I bought this at Keepsakes, and when I bought it, they had a little wool floss pack, which I also have here. And so this will be something that's really fun to stitch, and I bet you I have some green fabric that's really similar. I bought this too. This is a Judy Whitman design, JBW Designs. It's a horn book. This is a 2022 pattern, but this kit includes the pattern and the horn book and the fabric and the floss. And the reason I got this is because when I was a kid, I had an American Girl doll. I actually got the American Girl doll. It was Felicity, the colonial girl. I got her like way late in my childhood. I think I was really close to 13 years old, but boy, I wanted that Felicity doll. And so I was so happy to get it. And I always think of Felicity's horn book from the school story that was associated with that. So these are from the Keepsake Stitch Away Retreat. These are also by Judy Whitman. They're just some small, like little patterns that are associated with the big bluebird of happiness. And I'm just keeping them all together. And then here's a medium-sized pattern. I do not have the pattern profile, so I'll put a photo up. But this is by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and this is called Squad Ghouls. And I have the fabric, and then I have the floss, and I don't want to show the pattern, so I might have to blur that out. But it's mostly DMC floss with a couple Classic Colorworks. You can see Grape Pie there. I am calling this small, even though this is quite a few stitches. I just put one in markup, and I think it's about 10,000 stitches. But it's 4 small ornaments, and so that's only 2,500 stitches per ornament. So this is a small, I'm counting it. Another Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery pattern I have that's very similar is Cookies for Santa. So this is another series of 4 small ornaments. I'll put a photo of the pattern page on, and I've got the floss and the fabric because this was a kit. Here's something I bought at Needlework Market last year in 2022. This is by the Blue Flower, and it's called the Glad Sun. And I have the pattern, and I have all the called for flosses. Do not have the fabric, but I probably would use Fiber on a Whim Silver Fox for this. I am really enjoying working on Night Walk Down, which is another Blue Flower pattern. And this is kind of a companion thing, so it's like you've got a Night Walk Down with a moon character, and then you've got a Glad Sun with a sun character. The issue is I really, really want to rework the center lady. so she looks more like the lady in Night Walk Down. So they're kind of parallel each other. And so I might be playing around a little bit with that. Oh, looks like Nathan wants to come inside. I'm gonna stop the video real fast. Well, I only had one more pattern in my small medium patterns, and so I'll just show it to you really fast. This is by Judy Whitman again. Hey, Nathan. This is called When Cardinals Appear. And I just got this. This is a signed copy of the pattern, and it has the fabric here. So I would have to pick up the called for floss. So these are my small and medium cross stitch pieces. So I'm gonna go put them all back. A lot of them have slid onto the floor, and then I'll get my bin that has my large projects next. Okay, ready for some big guns? Let me show you. So the first one I have is by Bendy Stitchy, and it's 1844 Lady Man. Look at how cute that is. He's quite the lady man. I have all of the, this is fully kitted. So I have the called for fabric, which is Milk and Honey by Fiber on a Whim, and then all the floss, and there are bead embellishments on this. This is a sampler that is a reproduction of a sampler, I guess, presumably from 1844. And I just think it's fantastic. So can't wait to stitch that. This is the floss and the fabric for a digital pattern I have called Bee Queen by Tiny Modernist. Now I've made Yule Goddess, I've made Stitch Goddess, and this is part of that series. I really enjoy those projects. They're pretty big. I actually did put this in markup, and this is about 15,000 stitches. And so I want to start it. I want to start all of these projects. This is the floss for a Satsuma Street pattern called Garden Party. Now I've done Garden Party as the warm color tone, but I also really wanted to do the cool tone Garden Party. And so this is all the floss. I just need to add the fabric, and I do have a copy of the pattern printed up and put right there. This is floss for an Etsy pattern, you know, and I don't know much about the designer. It's a Super Mario themed pattern. And I can't really show you because the pattern is printed on like 5 pages and it's like just the pattern. But I'll see if I can get a photo from the Etsy listing on here. It's called Mario Stomp. Here's another kit. This is a kit by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery for the Chinese Zodiac. So we've got some really rich colors. There's some treasure braid in here and some plummy etoile. I really think this is a beautiful pattern. Here's a pattern my friend Holly sold to me. So Holly went to a retreat where this was the featured pattern, and this is by the Blue Flower. It's called Forest Home. I'm sure you've seen it before. I have the fabric, which is, let me see if I can read it here. XJU Design, 36 count, linen and ghostly shadows, and then all of the called for flosses are in this pack too. And so Holly sold this to me for a good deal, and I'm very grateful. It's very nice. Holly also destashed this. Now this is a fat quarter shop pattern called Flea Market Flowers. And this is something that Holly actually started. So there's a little stitching here, but I haven't put any of my own stitches on it. You can kind of see there's like some Scandinavian looking flower motifs, and it looks huge. So this will be a good project for, you know, maybe next year when I'm missing my flowers. Can you hear my stuff all falling down? This is chaotic. Moons Out, Brooms Out by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I do not have this fully kitted. I have this, and then I have the fabric. This is an Atomic Ranch fabric in Christmas Night, but I'm going to use it for a Halloween night. I saw this stitched at Stitch Away 2022. Yeah, 2023. Stitch Away, and I just thought it was really pretty. The sample was beautiful, stood out, and I think this would be really fun to stitch. And then the last big kit I have is something I kitted myself, and it's from this book, Cross Stitch Happy Days. I'm gonna see if I can turn to the sample picture, but it's called House Diary. Let's see if I can find it here. Page 12, it says. Isn't this cool? So it is a slip cover that you can put around a like standard like 5x7 notebook or a diary. There's a front and a back. I thought that if I stitched it, I would stitch it on this Shamrock and Roll by Fiberlicious. This was a club fabric I got a couple months ago, and I have all the DMCs out too. So this will be fun. I could get like maybe a 5 or 7 pack of like the same size diaries and then make a slip cover that I could move from diary to diary. And I don't know what secrets I would put in that. So anyway, that's my kit parade. Okay, so now I have to share the projects that I really didn't get to work on and that I'm a little sad about, but that's okay because I will get back to them. Can you hear my son giggling in the background? That's fun. So this is the Atomic Starburst quilt. I showed it to you briefly in my last regular update. I have finished the quilt top. It is really cool. It is a mix of foundation paper piecing and regular blocks, and these blocks are all pieced in a diamond pattern with sashing in between each diamond, which I found quite challenging. Let me see if I can bring this a little closer. I am still on my tripod, and so I'm trying to make it shaky. But you can see that there are just a lot of really pretty colorful colors, and it's kind of got a vintage vibe to it. I love vintage stuff, and so it's right up my alley. So my next step with this is I need to iron it yet again because I've had it folded on my craft table this whole time. And then I have purchased this pink fabric as a backing fabric. All these fabrics, by the way, are by Ruby Star Society. And, hey, Nathan. Oh, rude. I'm kidding. It's okay. And I am just really looking forward to making my quilt sandwich so that I can quilt this and get this done. But I think it's happening after the kids go back to school. So the other project that I have worked on this week is just a quick sewing machine project that is one of the kinds of projects I like to call my Sally sidetracks, because I got sidetracked and I just decided I need another project. So one thing I did when I reorganized my quilting fabric is I pulled out all of my quilting scraps, and I found this set of fabrics that are all just kind of left over from some needle books I made a couple years ago. And I've started to stitch little star-shaped quilt blocks out of them. Isn't that cute? So this is another foundation paper piecing pattern by Happy So Lucky on Etsy and Instagram. The name of the pattern is called Teeny Stars because each of these blocks is about 3 inches square. So out of one of these scraps of fabric, I can get one star block because I'm using the same white for all of the stars. And then I can get a complementary 3-inch square. And so I've gotten several of these stars and several of these other squares here. And eventually what I'm hoping to do is have enough stars. I think I'll have 16 and then 16, so 32 blocks. And I think I want to make them up into a project bag. So I've got these, and then I've got this scrap fabric. This is all left over from the quilt that I just recently made. And some of these pieces are big enough that I think I can piece them together to make the lining of the project bag I'm working on. This, by the way, is the pattern I use. So basically you print your pattern out on foundation paper like this, and then you sew right through this paper, and that's how you get these precise little stars. Or, I mean, as precise as I can make them. I have a little trouble lining them up, but that's pretty darn good, I'd say. So that's what I've got. And then what these are just little offcuts if I have leftover fabric. I collect 1.5-inch quilt squares and 2.5-inch quilt squares, and then I just save them for future projects. So I am trying to get like all of this fabric as kind of like a good to the last drop project, just because I like using everything up and taking advantage of, you know, all the beautiful materials to the best of their ability. So despite being disappointed that I haven't had a lot of time to do any quilting or sewing in the last 3 weeks, I have really enjoyed the time that I've had, and I've actually made a lot of progress on my cross stitching, and you know, it was so good to get those socks done for knitting, and I've watched a lot of Flosstube too. So I thought I would give you a little shout out to the people I've watched. I made a list because I always watch way more than these, but I just want to call out ones that I was especially enjoying this week. First off, I watched the Thread Gremlins. They are so fun. All three of them were there, and it was just really fun to watch, you know, and see all the different things they'd made. There was a beautiful stocking that they showed, and then they showed these beautiful floss by Robin, and her floss company is called Pirate Robin. And I want to get my hands on some of that floss because it was really cool to see it in motion. And yeah, it was cool. Later that week, they actually did a live with Beck of Beck Stitches Everything. And that was fun too. I wasn't able to get in right at the start of the live, but I got to see a lot of it, and it was just like being like sitting on the couch and chit-chatting with them. You know, there were some comments on the screen, and it was like really cool. And that's the thing I really like about cross stitch is even though we're all kind of in our own separate stitchy spots and we maybe only see each other at retreats or maybe even never, I really do feel like a connection with other people through this medium and through our hobby, and I think that's awesome. Speaking of Beck, she did a Mill Hill Kit tutorial, and that was so much fun to watch. I actually commented on it. So she takes you from start to finish, from cutting out a finished perforated paper Mill Hill ornament project to having it ready to display on a tree. But for each step, she had a different ornament. And so she probably finished like, you know, 6 to 8 ornaments in the process of making the video. And I was like, that is really fun. Every time I looked up, she was working on a different project. And I was like, wow, I'm impressed by how prolific you are. So that was a lot of fun. I caught up with Elizabeth and Can Stitch. I watch her. She's like a must watch every week. She actually did not post this week because over the weekend she went to Flock, which is a fiber festival that was in Seattle Convention Center. And that was fun for me because I've been to the Seattle Convention Center. I've only been to one convention in my life, and that was in 2013 with my sister. We went to PAX Prime, the Penny Arcade Expo 2013. And that was a lot of fun. It was video game themed, and so we got to see all the up and coming games in the exhibition halls. Animal Crossing New Leaf on the Game Boy was like the hot game of 2013, and so we would like sit in little lobbies and like make friends with other little, you know, Animal Crossing nerds. And Seattle was a fun city to visit, and I have a lot of fond memories about that trip. And I remember specifically that convention center was very nice, and so it was fun to see Elizabeth, you know, in her Instagram stories, get to go do that too. And now I want to go to a knitting festival. It looks fun. So Red, the Redheaded Stitcher, who did my French tier stitch along with me, and we've been chatting back and forth. I hope you feel better soon. I had a horrible migraine, and then she had a horrible migraine, and we are in different time zones because she is in England and I'm here in the Eastern United States. But I'm really, really glad that we both got to do that stitch along together. I'm really glad she reached out to me to do that because Erin Elizabeth was a new designer for me, and I really enjoyed making a connection across the sea. I watched a new to me Flosstube, and they are very close to 1,000 subscribers. And so, I mean, I don't have any pull in this community, but they watched one of my videos and had some very nice things to say, and I wanted to just give them a shout out right back. And that is Uplift Stitches, Melanie and Michael. And first off, I have to say that Melanie and Michael both have like radio level voices. They're so soothing. So if you like to watch Flosstube late at night and you're like stitching before bed, maybe pick a different channel just for that time of day, because I just think their voices are so soothing that you'll get lulled into sleep mid-stitch, as that is something that happens to me like twice a week. And so I've been there. But during more active times, it was just so nice. It was so fun to like see all the projects they were both working on. I like that they both have secret projects. I have secret projects that I don't show until I'm done. And I am just really excited to catch up on some of their back videos and get to know them both better because I think they're very cool. And I appreciated the shout out. I'm glad that they enjoyed my videos. Or Melanie watched them. Michael said he still was going to catch up. So anyway, hi, new friends. I want to be your friend. So, I've been watching some other non-cross stitch channels on YouTube and enjoying them. There's a crochet channel I've been following called Made by Manda Mal. Manda Mal. And she is someone who is a crochet amigurumi vendor. And so she makes little stuffed animals, and then she goes to farmers markets and, you know, art shows and, you know, festivals and sells there. And what I like about her channel is that she vlogs while she's manning her booth. And so you get kind of that booth vibe. And I also think the projects she makes are really cute. She makes these little toadstool guys, and they come in different colors. And I kind of want one of each color because I just think they're really, really cute. And I just like her vibe. You know me, I like a good organization vlog. I've been watching 2 of them. One is Beth. She is the feral trad wife. And at first I was like, ew, trad wife, because I'm a little troubled by that trend right now. But she is very funny, and I think that it is like, you know, she's saying it in jest, and I really like the cut of her jib. Beth has several children. I think 2 of them are also autistic. And so she's talked about things that I can relate to. You know, her children are food averse. My child is food averse. And, you know, just the idea of just kind of being interrupted in the middle of your flow. And, you know, feeling lucky that you can be interrupted, you know, so you can go attend to your children's needs, but also kind of finding that frustrating and stressful, because it is. And so I really like her a lot. And I think that if you like that kind of content, you should give her a try. Another person that I follow that's along the same lines is an Australian vlogger. Her name is Monique, and her channel is called Organized Everyday Mum. And she does these things that I want to try out, and they're called Sunday resets. And the idea of a Sunday reset is she and her husband David both work very, very hard hours, and they have small children that are like, I think all of the children are under the age of like 8 or 9. And so what she does on Saturday nights is she makes like a shopping list, and then on Sundays she does a 2 or 3 hour meal prep, and she makes very healthy like dinners and lunches for her and her husband to take to work, and baked goods for the kids to enjoy, and snacks. And she does it under a budget, and she does it in a very organized fashion that I find very satisfying to watch and maybe to try to emulate. Now, I don't think I can do a full week's worth of meals in a session on a Sunday, because I think that would cut into, you know, my family time too much. But I could do 1 or 2 meals together and then have like a leftover meal. And so I'm going to try that. So this week, actually, when I get done filming this, while I'm waiting for all of these little videos to transfer from my phone into my cloud so I can start editing them, I am going to make a tandoori chicken, like 1-pot meal that I found a recipe for, and I have all the ingredients. And so I'm going to make the tandoori marinade, and then I'll put it all in the 1 pot with the rice and stuff when we're ready to prepare it. And that should save me a lot of time at that time. And then I'm also going to make like a shepherd's or a cottage pie, technically. Shepherd's pie has lamb meat, and cottage pie has ground beef, and I have ground beef. So I'm going to make 2 cottage pies. I bought a second baking dish. And so what I can do is I can make the mince, like the meat part, and then I make the potatoes and top it. And then I'll have one to pop in the oven when my husband gets home from work today. And then I'm going to put the other one with my brand new baking dish that has the lid in the freezer. And then I have a bonus dinner for the future that I can just thaw in the fridge and then pop in the oven when that's done. Because all the ingredients are pre-cooked. It's just like browning them in the oven. And that's easy. And so that's my little start. I love building habits that make my life more efficient and, you know, just make things flow more smoothly. This has been a challenging time because we are off routine. No one is in school right now. The summer school session ended. We've started a new therapy thing. There's all this like just odds and ends that we have to do like once at the beginning of the school year and then never think about again. And I am just feeling kind of like frazzled and stressed out and a little frustrated that like all I want to do is cross stitch and finish this thing and finish that thing, and I can't because I have responsibilities because I'm an adult. And so I have really been inspired by the idea of taking big things and breaking them up into little things, and then just trying to steal all those little moments because they do add up. I might have 10 minutes to stitch now. That's 10 minutes of just peace and that serotonin boost. And then I'll go do like 10 minutes of chores and 10 minutes of like taking care of my kiddo, and then I can return to my cross stitch. And I think that that's just the mode that works for me right now. And next week I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna have longer time, and I cannot wait. I'm very excited. So anyway, that is going to do it for this week. I am so glad if you stuck with me this long. Don't forget to make a comment to enter that giveaway if you're interested. And I am just so happy that you joined me. If you like to follow my daily adventures, I try to post a lot of stories on my Instagram. My Instagram account is right here. It's my first and my last name. I also am going to try really hard to get back into posting every other week. I went 3 weeks between my videos, and that's like too much. I did too many things, and it's hard to actually kind of talk about everything I did because I know I probably forgot about something, and as soon as I turn this off, I'm gonna be like, oh, wait, oh, I wish I'd brought that up. But I'll catch it next time, and I hope to catch you next time too. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time, friends. Bye-bye.